16 laps, again they go. A good quick wheelie from Chris Walker, who's got everything to go for here. Michael Rutter, number 3, though, getting a fantastic start, but not as quick as Troy Bayliss, who meant business that time. He really was hungry. 32, Bayliss leads. Walker's in 3rd. Llewellyn is in 4th. Where is Mackenzie? Mackenzie well down the order, riding sensibly, and I have to say, wouldn't you? And it's a fairly depleted grid now, because we do have Hislop out with injury. We do have Simpson out with injury. We also have James Hayden out with injury. Riding with Max Vincent, who's got the Privateer Championship in his sights. Through on the inside goes Ian McPherson, number 6. He should do, in fairness. It's a factory Kawasaki, and he's going away from Vincent, but a good ride by the Leicestershire youngster.
Through the gooseneck now, and Bayliss heading the pack, and I've never seen a more determined Troy Bayliss than off the start there. Into the first corner, he really slapped his bike across the front of everyone else and made that piece of road his. Rutter trying everything he knows to hang on the back of Bayliss. Let's not forget that Bayliss was the pole position man. He was 2 seconds inside the lap record, an outstanding lap, 1 minute 26.2 around this 2.23 mile Cadwell Park circuit. He should be the fastest man on the track in theory, but he didn't have the first race. Of course, the first race today he broke down. He hasn't had the experience of that to ride a full race distance here at Cadwell. So he's out in front now, but everybody's trying to catch him, and nobody's more determined than that man on bike number 2, the Iron Man of British Superbike, Chris Walker.
Race leader Troy Bayliss, second place Michael Rutter, and it was a gearbox problem which sidelined Bayliss in round 17. And something we learned in the interval as well, Neil Mackenzie is actually riding Steve Hislop's number 1 race bike. So clearly, a huge wobble from Max Vincent, who recovered it, almost went mowing on the grass, but fortunately saved it, and has now got his head down, and he's away again. But that was a close one. Past goes Terry Reimer. Factory Suzuki goes past Privateer Kawasaki, and again, I repeat, it's a factory bike, although Suzuki's not having the best of the second half of the 1998 season. 1, 2, 3, third place, number 2, Kawasaki's Chris Walker, sensing another win on the cards here. Michael Rutter, number 3, in second. Had he not crashed, he would have had a rostrum finish in the previous race. He doesn't want to do it again this time, desperate to make amends and get a top 3 finish. Troy Bayliss, Troy Bayliss! Oh dear me, that cost him 2 places. He almost threw it away and had a high side, but he's fighting back on the inside of Chris Walker, but he's lost out. Nobody is more determined than Walker when the chips are down. Into second then goes Chris Walker on the number 2 Kawasaki. Race leader, Honda, Michael Rutter, number 3. 4th place, it's Matt Llewellyn, number 43. 5th place again, Ian McPherson, having another solid ride.
Yeah, McPherson's coming up from not such a good start and tagging on the back of these guys. The pace looks hotter in this race than it was in the earlier race this afternoon. But it's Michael Rutter now that's heading this Motorcycle News British Superbike snake around Cadwell Park in Lincolnshire, going on to Park Straight now. Very fast part of the track here, over the blind brow into Park Corner, and Walker goes alongside. Classic overtaking manoeuvre there into Park Corner. Second gear, so now it's Walker from Rutter.
Chris Walker on target now for a 50-point maximum here at Cadwell Park. Michael Rutter might just be settling for second because he knows just how determined Chris Walker is. He's going to make hay while the sun shines, and that's part of the reason why they're going quicker. I suspect everything's warmed up here, not just the pace. Track temperature's gone up, the sun is out. Neil Mackenzie there, coasting to some points again behind Max Vincent, and right with him going Sean Emmett. Emmett also still under some injury from that right arm, not fully fit. Through goes Mackenzie. That's another point in his back pocket. He's not going to give this championship up easily, but he knows full well now that his threat does not come from his teammate Steve Hislop, who the rest of the season is in doubt for Hislop, I think it's fair to say, but it now almost certainly comes from Kawasaki's Chris Walker. Championship leader then, Neil Mackenzie, on his way to his 3rd title, and he's not going to surrender that without a fight.
He's certainly not, but what a brave ride from Mackenzie. You can't imagine what he was going through as he was like a trapeze artist going through the air in that crash. This is down to the hairpin, and Emmett slips through inside of Max Vincent now, so Max Vincent down yet another place. This is the notorious barn corner. No runoff there on the left-hand side. Look how close the barrier is. It's Mackenzie and Emmett doing all he can to chase him, and again Emmett riding with injury. Let's not forget that. He had a badly damaged arm earlier in the year, and that not back to full fitness either.
Matt Llewellyn on the Ducati, down 2 gears, up the inside goes Ian McPherson. So Matt Llewellyn, who undoubtedly can ride quickly, does appear to have a slight problem sustaining the pace all the way through the race. He slips back. The other riders may be up their game, I don't know, but they seem to come by in the second half of the race. Matt needs to work on possibly his personal fitness or possibly his concentration throughout the race, and he'll be there. He is very, very quick, but Ian McPherson has everything to prove, and he's fighting, of course, to keep his job with the Kawasaki team for next year. We're getting now to the point in the season where people are looking for what they're going to be doing next year, which team they're going to be riding for. Ian McPherson is a hot prospect, but there are effectively, Roger, more talented men out there at the moment than there are bikes available.
Well, that's always been the case, really. The factory rides, the best rides go to the best riders historically, and the best riders make the bikes look good, and that's generally what happens. But it's the last lap now, and Walker doesn't look like being caught. I think Rutter's playing a game of trying to keep Bayliss behind him rather than trying to catch Chris Walker. So looks like Chris Walker is going to get this one too.
Troy Bayliss, the number 32 Australian, then in a 16-point position currently. If he can just get past the number 3 Honda of Michael Rutter, he will grab 20 points. Out in front, though, looking for 25 points, it's Chris Walker. Rutter, very talented, very experienced, riding the canny line, keeping it tight, keeping the Australian behind. Don't leave a hole, because Troy Bayliss will be through like a rocket ship, and he's very good on the brakes. Is he going to be able to do it down through the gooseneck? Right, left they go. The next left-hander, Mansfield, and it's the mountain section. Troy Bayliss then on the back of the Honda, but Rutter doing everything he can. He's changed that rubber. He's now running Dunlop tyres. They seem to suit him better in the dry. It might be a different situation when we get to wet track conditions. The next round is Silverstone. It all goes to Brands Hatch, and the series wraps up the grand finale at Donington Park. And it all happens over the next few weeks. So a lot to play for. No more so than for this man, who now has the championship in sight and has closed dramatically on an injured Neil Mackenzie, who is still there, riding home in 7th place. Checkered flag in sight. Chris Walker, double win at Cadwell, 50-point maximum. Ecstatic Chris Walker, and why shouldn't he be? Walker then on the victory lap. Oh, that's Peter Graves diving up the inside, unceremoniously dumping Sean Emmett into the tyre belt. Peter, there was no way through there. I hesitate to say what were you thinking of, but presumably you thought there was an opportunity. Look at Chris Walker celebrating his victory. Michael Rutter's going to be happy with second, because there's no way he was going to beat this man when he was on a roll. Walker confirmed. Rutter, Bayliss, McPherson. A good day for Ian McPherson, but that solid performance was overshadowed by his teammate Chris Walker.
Chris, absolutely fantastic. Your first ever double.
Yeah, that's right. I've never won both races on the day. I don't think I've ever probably stopped on for both of them before. But no, Kawasaki was working awesome, and the Dunlop tyres, I went for the soft ones, and they lasted all the way through. It's perfect. No complaints.
No complaints either for Max Vincent. He too had a double here at Cadwell in the Privateer Championship. Phil Giles second after crashing in round 17.
It's my first time on a Superbike this year, and I guess I'm learning every meeting we go to. And I think the biggest thing is learning how to set the bike up. Such a lot of power wants to go out of control, and it's just learning how to control it and put it where you want it. And as I'm learning, I think the results are showing.
Well, they are now, Max. You're closing dramatically on Phil Giles. Peter Graves, despite that crash, is in third. Brett Sampson fourth. The rest of the Privateer table, Ray Stringer, he's only had a few rides, he's still there in 8th. Chris Walker's brilliant ride moves him past Steve Hislop. 49 points now, he trails Mackenzie by, with 150 still to play for. In 5th place, it's John Reynolds. He's got 4 on the bike after last year. It's looking like number 5 on the bike for next year. But Chris Walker taking the applause of the crowd, sensing he could possibly win this championship. The next round is at Silverstone, and that's a relatively unknown quantity for all the riders. There hasn't been a good bike race at Silverstone for many years. Yamaha firmly in the lead of the manufacturers' table. Ducati have passed Suzuki, who are having a fairly dismal end to the 1998 season.